Hey, so is it too late to start selling on Amazon? In this video, we're going to discuss it. And today, my guest is Yoni, CGO at Getida. Yoni was already a guest on our channel once. We're going to have another video with him in the description. It's about Amazon FBA reimbursements. But today, we kind of want to speak about, is it too late start selling on Amazon? And myself, my name is Vova Evans, seller on Amazon. Been selling there actively since late 2016, still actively selling in the trenches of US and Canada. So is it too late to start selling Amazon? Yoni, can you introduce yourself to us? And we're gonna talk about that today.
You got it. So hi everybody. Thank you again, Vova, for having us again on the channel. It's always a pleasure. It's really a unique privilege to be here and be discussing with you. So is it too late to start selling on Amazon or start selling on Amazon FBA? We're recording this now at the end of 2021, but this is, heading into 2022, big question. Really, it's a fair question, but the simple answer is, as far as I can say, no, it's not too late. I was almost about to say yes, because I want to say, yes, you can start selling. Yeah. But as for the question, it's no, it's not too late to start selling on Amazon FBA or selling on Amazon. Yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm the co-founder and chief growth officer of Getida. Getida, we're a technology company. Our claim to fame is our ability to help Amazon FBA sellers get the maximum FBA reimbursements that they're eligible to receive. Typically what happens is you're able to go back 18 months on the data, found issues that you're eligible to get, reimbursements. And then we have a team that, opens up cases and manages all the back and forth. And it's free to join Getida. It's free to stay with Getida. We only charge a fee based on recovery. In a nutshell, we're the largest organization in the world dedicated just for this, Amazon FBA auditing and reimbursements. We audit billions of dollars worth of transactions, FBA transactions every day. That's what I am now. But, Getida was born from my experience as an Amazon seller. About a decade ago, almost 10 years ago, I started selling online. Back in the day was eBay. 2013, we started selling on Amazon. The business grew very, very quickly from 0 to 20 million. And then together, we became part of a larger group that together we did over 100 million in FBA sales. And Getida was born from that activity because we constantly had to solve our problems with FBA discrepancies. Getida was started and it grew so much that we eventually cashed out of, selling on Amazon. So we don't sell on Amazon anymore. We focus only with Getida on helping sellers. But because of that, we're engaging with sellers all day long. That's our favorite thing in the world. That's why we're very, very grateful to be able to be in this industry and helping so many people within the industry. So that's a little bit about the question, a little bit about myself, but where do you want to start kind of covering this question?
Yeah, it's good to have you here once again, Yoni. And this is a kind of popular question. I get sometimes from friends and people say Amazon is saturated and it's getting harder and harder. And as a seller, I got to say, yeah, it is. I think every day, today we had a call with a guy named David Miller. He's a lawyer from New York. And I think he mentioned that it's, something like 3,700 people join Amazon every day. Sellers, not buyers, sellers, right?
Yes, third-party Amazon sellers, yeah.
That's pretty crazy, right? And people think, okay, that makes it saturated. So I think one of the biggest issues for people who want to start, they think it's too saturated. And I've been hearing that since I started. In 2016, they said you know what, it's not like 2013 anymore. And it's true, it is not. And people said, but man, get me back to 2016. It's so easy to rank products, get reviews, much easier. But what do you think, man?
So let me help in here and provide some high level statistics, right? So people have an idea what is going on, how does this all looking on a high level, right? Yeah. So in the United States, there's about 2 million sellers on Amazon. Worldwide, there's about 6 million sellers. 10 years ago, this was probably 90% less. It was, you have maybe, instead of 2 million, you have 200,000, and worldwide, instead of having 6 million, maybe you had 500,000 or 600,000. So within 10 years, it went 10x. So that looks maybe a little scary out of the offset, but if you look deeper into the data, you're probably going to find that from let's use the 2 million sellers in the United States, it's going to be a bit easier because it's the kind of the biggest market anyways, or I guess more powerful market. Secondary markets on Amazon is UK, Germany, a lot of potential there. We can discuss that later on if needed. But United States, 2 million sellers, but from the 2 million sellers, the real revenue and the actual power is located between 10, maybe 20% of the sellers. Right? So from 2 million, we have maybe 200 to 400,000 sellers that are actually in charge of 90+% of the volume. Right? So all in, maybe up to 400,000 sellers. Then it doesn't sound that much. Because don't forget, you have more than 300 million, people living in the United States. Maybe it's already 350 million. But Amazon US also gets a lot of business from the outside. People who live in Israel, for example, they shop on Amazon US. So you have a global market. So all in, it's hundreds of millions more, maybe even scratching the billion of consumers worldwide that are relying on Amazon US to buy products. So, and the population in the United States and the world is still growing. That's a few layers to think about. Now, also on top of all that, e-commerce, forget about Amazon, Amazon is even less, but all of e-commerce is only maybe today 15, 16, maybe 17% of all the retail here in the United States. So from every dollar that's spent on retail, the industry, 17 cents maybe goes to e-commerce. Within e-commerce, maybe half of it goes to Amazon, and all the rest of them goes to regular stores. So the penetration of e-commerce is still, historically speaking, is it's the beginning. The pandemic helped to push a lot. Like before the pandemic, the e-commerce was maybe 9 or 10%, and the pandemic within a year and a half or maybe 2 years helped it grow another 5 or 6 or 7%. So in other words, what took about 20 years for e-commerce, and within 1 or 2 years, half it was achieved, which is aggressive growth. People got stuck at home. They had no ability to go outside. So all of a sudden, e-commerce, and especially Amazon, was like a superhero that goes outside and gets you all the products that you need. You can buy food here in Amazon US. You can buy, there's Amazon Fresh. You can buy milk. You can buy eggs. You can buy all these things. You don't have to go outside, and boom, it comes all the way to your house and has the Amazon fulfillment that's helping and securing that. So consumers were trusting it. So Amazon in 1 year, because 2019 it had $300 billion in revenue. And in 2020, added another 100 billion. So it made more than 400 billion in revenue in 1 year. So 25% growth to a company it's doing a revenue of 300 billion is crazy. But it was made done because of the pandemic. The growth was, but this year, I think also they're going to, 2021, they're probably going to add another 100 billion. So they're probably going to surpass $500 billion in revenue. Only company that does it, at least in the United States, that I'm aware of is Walmart. Because Walmart has a lot of store physically, and they do more than $500 billion in revenue. So there's two companies here in the United States that do over $500 billion in revenue, but still growing. It's not the end of it. It's so much more potential, and you can rely on that. That's kind of high level layers. But let's go deep down internally. Because more people are adopting e-commerce and Amazon and getting used to it, they're gonna continue shopping on it more and more. Per customer, you see that over the years, they just start buying more and more. I started buying on Amazon maybe a decade ago. Maybe once, twice a year, I used to buy something. Then the next year, a few more things. Today, I just, I'm an addict. I became so, not addicted, but so used to it because it's so efficient. I don't even want to shop in a regular store. I have no patience standing in line. It's like you put me in line, like I see a line, I want to buy something very much. I see a line, I just, I leave it, I go. I'll just a few clicks at my doorstep, because my time today is very, very valuable. I'm in my 30s. I'm married. I got children. I got a career. I got a job. I got a company. Time is so valuable. So I'm gonna go to a store, take my car, park my car, go to the aisle, touch this, maybe not this store doesn't have. I have to go to another store, right? And then another stuff. Then I have to ask question. Wait for this size. Stand in line. The whole thing is inefficient, and I'm not enjoying it. Maybe when I was young, it was cool. I want to try it out, this and that. You go with your friends, that's a little cool, fine. But as you kind of grow and now have much financially and much more capable of buying. When you're a kid, your parents give you $100, $200, go buy yourself something. You go try to do it, and you have fun with it. So it's more cultural. So you go to the mall, you got, you buy some ice cream. It's fun. You want to burn your time. I guess in my age, in my state of life, and I'm much financially much more capable of buying stuff. Online is the name of the game. So if you go down to the resolution of, consumer and consumer behaving and adaptation, you see that Amazon users and consumers are becoming more and more valuable over time, and that's potential for you, for the seller, right? Now let's add another layer. People who were, I guess, 50 or 60 years old, right? Who never would have used online, stuff, had to use it last year, 2020, when the pandemic hit. They had to use it.
Yep.
And then now they're growing in that platform, right? And they don't have a lot of products that are suitable for 50, 60, 70, 80, even 90-year-old people. It's simply not on the platform.
Good point.
That is a lot of opportunity. All these gadgets, all these gear, things that can help them. That is a brand new, consumer level layers that are right now in the marketplace on Amazon. So there's a whole, it's an open field. So the reason why it's not developing as fast is because there's not enough awareness, and there's not enough of data. Because right now, a lot of the sellers, they try to look what happened in history. They're not trying to really innovate. But the data is going to come. You'll see what they like, what they don't like, and that data is going to come. Oh, all of a sudden that, equipment that helps people if they fall, and and it's very famous in America. If I fell down, I can't get up. You have these devices. You click a button, and it brings out the ambulance or something, so you can come and rescue you. So maybe that category can develop all these devices and necklaces or rings that if they ever fall, they're under distress, click a button, help comes to help you. Your 70s, 80s, you live alone, you have money. Now all these layers of elderly people, they do have money. They're not gonna travel around the world and spend in luxury hotels. They're mostly in the house. They're simple. They walk the park. They read a book. This and that. Shopping online is so easy. They can they start browsing and they're gonna spend their money. They're not gonna go to the mall because culture is they don't unless they have mall walkers. If you ever in the United States, I don't know in Israel, but it's very famous people in malls because especially here in New York area, it's cold area. In the winter or even the summer, it's too hot. It's too cold. They go to the mall and it's such big malls. They just walk up and down all around every day. And that's how they get their exercise. They don't shop for anything. They don't buy anything. Yeah, they don't buy anything.
Wow.
Maybe they'll buy a cup of coffee or
Yeah.
at the beginning or the end.
Yeah.
But the mall walkers.
Wow.
It's all over the country. At least here in New York, it's very, very popular.
Okay.
But they don't shop. But when they need to now, they need to start buying things. Now they got all familiar with e-commerce and especially Amazon. They trust Amazon. They got their products when they most needed it. When they're stuck at home, the toilet paper, the paper towels, the toothbrushes, whatever they needed, they got it within a day or two. They got it from Amazon. So they trust it. And that was the first, so all of these layers of potentials are in the system, high level, 70% e-commerce, new age groups. And because it's so efficient, people adapt it more and more. So all that is in the mix, and that is the potential going forward in this marketplace. So if you're an entrepreneur that wants to come into the game, that is what you should see in front of you. And if that makes sense to you, yes, there's definitely room to grow, looking into the future. It's just there. Now, I also had a meeting with Kevin King a few days ago. We kind of also brought that question up. So he agreed, of course, looking to the future, definitely a lot of potential. It's all data driven. Like I said, you have to kind of look at the data and be familiar with it, but also leave a little bit of room to faith. Say, hey, I know these new age groups and consumers are there. There's not enough data because these products are not even on the market for them yet. So you got to there's room for innovation. In other words, be creative, be innovative, and try to experiment. And then you'll pave new categories and new subcategories and new products that nobody ever did before. You're going to make a lot of money. Granted, maybe later you'll get some competition, but if you're already a brand at that moment, you can have a good business because you're first to market. But anyways, he said financially, what is changing and becoming more challenging. Maybe that's why it's bringing this question up is how much would it cost to become an Amazon seller,
Great
an FBA
question.
seller?
Yeah.
Right. So we have the question. Is there's still money? Can you still make money? Or what was the original question that we said no? The question was
Is it too late? But it's definitely also connected because people say like, well, it takes more money to start these days if you want to build.
Exactly.
Again, I don't know about wholesale and all the other models that sell private label. And people say like it's more expensive to start like efficient private label today rather than take it 4 years.
That is true, right? So if it's too late, it's not too late. It's becoming more expensive. That should be probably now that we know that's not too late. I guess the next obvious question would okay, but what's the situation? How high is the bar? What has changed? So Kevin King was saying about this that the bar has changed, and then it's more expensive, definitely more expensive. If before you're able to kind of really within really a few $100s be able to launch a private label business, right? You just go to Alibaba, you get a a small MOQ, minimum order quantity, you throw it to the market, a little budget of a PPC, everything kind of starts to flow, and then you grow and grow. Fine. That was the good old days, maybe to 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. But now it's still there. Those kind of elements where you source overseas, you launch MOQ, but more challenging and it's probably more expensive. There's inflation in the world. Not just selling an Amazon is more expensive. Many regular things as consumers are just more expensive. So sourcing will be more expensive. The products can be more expensive. Maybe there will bigger quantities are needed from you. Shipping especially of containers, for sure more expensive until further notice. So he was saying just to make it a bit easier on the mindset to launch a new product, a private label product on the platform. He estimates it between 5,000 on the minimum side, all the way to 20,000. That's kind of the spectrum that he sees. So if you have these resources available, 5,000 to 20,000 available for you to really start a business on Amazon, grow it, and at least take a year or two to give it a shot. That is where you're at. That's where the reality is. If you're trying to do it under those numbers, you have a chance of success, but it's less chance of success. If you have that budget, 5 to 20,000, you'll be able to source enough units, invest in them in marketing and setting them up in motion, and then generate some sort of attraction and start to build the business. And you need a horizon of time and money and doing it and more professionally. So obviously, because you got a lot of big money, institutional money that came into the marketplace, and I'll explain what it is. So you have all the aggregators. You got Thrasio, you got Perch, you got Heyday, you got on and on and on, right? So many of them, if not all of them, has raised money, a lot of money, and billions of dollars. I think they already probably altogether across the $10 billion of money that's raised to buy Amazon brands, Amazon businesses, right? So, and when they buy these businesses, the Amazon brands, what they're doing effectively is making the whole industry much more professional. So now they're hiring a lot of people really quickly, and they want people who are professionals in this job. They're factories. These are factories of brands. How to launch a brand, how to have a brand, how to maintain a brand, how to buy, overseas, source overseas, and all the costs will go down for them because they have scale. They have economy of scale. So they're making this industry much, much more professional. So now you graduate out of college, you want to go into e-commerce, you go to these companies. These companies are worth a lot of money already. Thrasio, at least, very recently, the valuation was over $10 billion. So yeah, I finished college, a really good college university. I'm going to want to go to work for $10 billion company and deal with e-commerce. So you can have the best talented people in the industry, for PPC, for sourcing, for marketing, for logistics, for every type of so that's who you're competing with. And that's going to get, that's go over time. So you being alone, that's fine. You'll be able to really be good at it if you hone on it. And there's always advantages of being small compared to big and vice versa. The big have other, but there's still room for both of them for sure. But everything is just becoming more challenging, more professional. So you have to understand that. But it's definitely not too late. When e-commerce reaches 40%, 50% of all of retail, 50-50, man, say, maybe it's maturing. Maybe it's crowded. But until then, you got 10, 20 years, maybe 30 years. You have a long time for that. So definitely careers and businesses can be generated in this industry, and dedication, hard work, and I think above all, focus on data. It's the beautiful thing about selling on Amazon and selling online. It's full of data, whether you're private label or wholesale arbitrage sellers. For them, they can't do it without data. If the data shows that you cannot buy it here and sell it there, make money, you don't touch it. Data, right? When you go to a Walmart or a store, you scan something, it's in the store, it's selling for $2 and Amazon $20. Data says, yes, I can make money, so you do it, right? Or you can buy a Nike from somebody for $50, sell it for $80, makes profit. Yeah, it's data, right? Same thing for the private label sellers. I can source it. This is the demand, this is the keywords, this is what's going on. Data suggests I can do it. So if you're very, very focused on data and recognize all the elements and the opportunity, and you have the budget, you have the resources, go for it. So I hope it wasn't too much, but that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, man, it's pretty interesting. And I got to say something about aggregators, because you mentioned, and I got a bit scared at that point. I'm like, oh, yeah, these aggregators, and I think maybe people who are about to start selling now who are listening, or maybe new sellers, they might be like, whoa, these aggregators, that, as you mentioned, they kind of gather big teams of professional sellers, like PPC experts, like sourcing agents. And here you are alone, you have a day job, it's maybe your first business. Like, how do you compete with that? So I had guys on the channel from Excel Club, they're an aggregator. And there's guy, Nick, and he mentioned, yeah, he's one of his co-owner, right? And he mentioned that, right? So he mentioned something interesting, that they are, specifically them, maybe they're this type of aggregator. They're interested in buying businesses and growing businesses over $1 million in yearly revenue. Now, if you're a beginner seller and they don't go into small categories. So for example, if you're niching down into a product that is making you $5,000 a month in revenue, which you can expect, it depends, right? But you can expect $1,000 realistically profits from that, or even more, even less. But for a beginner, if you go into little small niches where aggregators are they don't have time, they have a lot of money, they need to scale fast. I believe they work differently. But if you're a beginner, if you niche down and you find 1, 2, 3, 4, take a year, you launch 4 products, each one is making you $5,000 in revenue, you're making here $4,000 profit. That's in Israel, you can quit your job. I quit my job.
That's how you win. That's the advantage. You win. You have a portfolio of products. They're so niche. Nobody wants to get into there.
Yeah.
So you make a few $100s, a few $1,000s every month per product. You have a portfolio. You make a good income. 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year, 200,000. You have a good life. Nobody's gonna bother you.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna, you're your own boss. And there's so much room for this. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that. That's your advantage, because they're never going to go to those roads. It's not worth it for them to invest millions of dollars, buying stuff. They're not going to sell millions of dollars. They don't want it. So that's the difference. That's why there's room for everybody. So it's a good point.
Yeah, man. And before we wrap it up, Yoni, maybe something to like your last tip for us. So maybe, you know what, for these who are entering the market now, because a lot of sellers are coming in, how can we differentiate? How can maybe we stand out? What should we look at? What do you think? Something like that.
Like I said earlier, focus on the data, what it suggests, recommends, but also leave room for common sense and a little bit of creativity. So the data says everybody needs toilet paper. Cool. White toilet paper. Cool. What if I make a little joke on the toilet paper? Whatever.
Right.
Leave a little bit of room for creativity. You're gonna sell the product, same product. But give it a little twist. Not necessarily go to the factory, find it there, and tell them make it red, blue. That's too obvious.
Yeah.
But leave room for creativity. That's when you can wear the hat of a consumer. If you would like to buy this, everybody needs it. But if you like to buy this a little bit white because it's a little bit unique, so leave room for creativity because you need a little bit of room for your soul. Yeah, granted, a lot of mathematics involved, a lot of data, a lot of calculations. But if you leave room for your soul and you do something creative, you'll be more passionate about it, more committed to it. And hopefully in the long term, it's just going to reward you a bit more. You'll be more successful.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your advice and thoughts today. I appreciate your time. It was really insightful. I'm going to here on the screen, leave like an ad screen on YouTube. It's a video about Getida and like reimbursements on Amazon. So our viewers and listeners can click on this now to kind of go and watch that video to see what Getida is all about, more of Yoni's story and how you can actually get money back from Amazon. So Yoni, thank you, man.
You got it. Take care, everybody. Good luck.